I'm just announcing rules. If you ain't speaking, just mute yourself so out of respect so everybody else can hear. You feel me? You know, we will have, I guess, question and answer session. I don't know how we're going to rock it. This is non-scripted, but thank you, everybody, for coming. This is the Color Law Class 2022. For those who screen sharing, see the brother Don Kilam screen sharing. If you don't have the app, get the app. You can download the app. And you can see the screen share even if you're on your phone or laptop.
How do you screen share?
It's going to be at the bottom. It says mute video, invite, and it says share.
Yeah. And they was calling her by her first name, so I know it had to be.
Somebody, we got your background. If I'm going to mute everybody.
Yeah, I would just throw in
just unmute yourself.
Or just mute where they can unmute themselves. Teach them how to unmute them. Unmute them.
All right. Everybody unmuted. Oh. Yeah, everybody muted now.
I got mine unmuted, so I'm just going to go off your lead.
Okay, I was going to have the Sister Victoria give a brief introduction, and then we just go in right after that. Victoria, are you available, or I can do the introduction myself? Okay. I don't hear you. Okay, so I'm just going to open up. Salvation, Allah, unity. I want to rise and give perfect praise to Allah, noble dry leader, prophet, and everything and more. I want to welcome everybody to the special one of lifetime Color Law Class 2022. We have two of the most proven mentors in North America at this present time, at the same place, at the same time. The best way to start off this new tax year with some knowledge that's not being taught in your schools, universities, and institutions to our people. Okay, I would like to introduce the speakers for tonight. If you're not familiar with these speakers, which is myself, my name is Antoine Bey, the Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, here in the Houston territory. You can reach me at Instagram, noble_Antoine_Bey. You can donate to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Cash App is $Antoine Bey 7. Okay, our next speaker, who is an author, mentor, really don't need no introduction. A lot of y'all already know him. Really a guru and other great works. Goes by the name of Don Kilam. You can reach Don Kilam on his Instagram on Don_Kilam. You can also reach him at his private membership. You can join at 480-573-4879. Okay, so I want to give all honors to the brother Don Kilam for assisting me greatly in putting this together, more than you people know. You know, really didn't even have to ask the brother. I mean, I didn't ask the brother, ain't no really. Okay, all honors to everybody who donated and came to this class. The brother really wanted to do this class free, but I know people don't appreciate nothing free, so we just asked for a small token, which is nothing. Just for to weave out the ones that wouldn't even appreciate this class. Okay. So I'll open up see we still got people coming in. I'm going to let everybody in. Okay, I sent a lot of y'all a book, Our Self-Law, which is the handbook for self-law students. Okay, let me know if y'all didn't get that. So you should have received that book. That book is not released. I will be releasing that soon. There's a lot of people coming in and out too. I will be releasing that soon. It contains 102 questions and answers. It's basically a reference book to get you started. Like if you just a beginner in law or whatever level you at law, and you just need a reference book to add to a lot of procedures that a lot of mentors like Don Kilam and other brothers might teach you. You know, this is a great reference book, and by y'all coming to the class, I gave y'all the PDF for free. And it also contains 1,200 case laws that I compiled together. Okay, throughout my studies, and they've been separated by different chapters to help you navigate through different situations. Sister Victoria, don't worry about it. We already gave the introduction. I see you say your mic wasn't working. Yeah, we put everybody on mute, but we already gave the introduction. But don't worry about it. So we're gonna get it started. We at 6:16 now. We just gonna get everything going at this point. Okay, so just to give a quick introduction to things, those who don't know, those that do know, whatever level you're on, this is the color of law class. The color of law deals with artificial jurisdiction that we under, artificial constructed government that's oppressing us under something that resembles the real law. It looks like real law, but it's colorable. Colorable means some painted, dyed, varnished, etc. For those who don't know what jurisdiction is in simplistic terms, to declare and to administer the right law. It involves the legal power and authority to hear and decide cases. You know, it means to adjudicate a case. Jurisdiction is broken down into 3 separate sections. And personam jurisdiction literally means against the person. And personam refers to courts and powers to adjudicate matters directed against a party. Then you got subject matter jurisdiction. In law, subject matter jurisdiction is the item or the object of the legal action. Subject matter jurisdiction is the court's power to hear a certain type of case. Then you got the territorial jurisdiction. Territorial jurisdiction, United States, refers to the court's power of events and persons within the bounds of a particular geographic territory. If a court does not have territorial jurisdiction over the events or persons within it, then the court cannot bind the defendant to an obligation or adjudicate any rights involving them. Okay, all these things you can find in the book that I sent everybody. It's been the 102s, number 16, 17, 18. That's what I'm reading from. If you want to follow along and take notes, these are key things you need to know before you even start to try any procedure. You should know about jurisdiction. Okay. The 7 elements of jurisdiction. What are the 7 elements of jurisdiction? Okay, this first element is the accused must be properly identified. The second element is the statute of offense must be identified by its proper or common name. The third is the acts of the alleged offense must be described in non-prejudicial language in detail so as to enable a person of average intelligence to understand and provide proper defense. The fourth is the accuser must be named. Number 5 is the accusation must be made under penalty of perjury. Number 6 is to comply with the 5 elements above for the accusation to be valid. The accused must be accorded due process. Number 7, the court must be one of competent jurisdiction. To have valid process, the tribunal must be a creature of its constitution, in accord with the law of its creation, i.e. Article 3 judge. So those 7 elements are the 7 elements of jurisdiction to even be established. These things you want to read in this book. Now all we can do today is give you references, but these books and things you have to read yourself and apply these things yourself. Okay, with that understanding jurisdiction, I'm going to yield the floor. I'm going to hand the floor over to the brother Don Kilam.
All right, peace and love, everybody. That was deep, man. I like that. I'm going to have to check your book out, too.
Peace and love, thank you.
But everybody has their own process and way of doing things, and there's multiple ways to skin a cat. I want everybody to understand that, but just, you know, you don't have to take my word for anything, Brother Antoine's word for anything. You know, you have to read, you have to learn how to apply it, or be around people that has applied this knowledge. I usually don't talk about too many people and bring other people into group sessions, but it was Taj Tariq Bey. Like I went across RV Bey publications, and those was the first things that helped me discover the fraud. I was actually in federal confinement, and I started applying these things. So one thing I did notice, I do want to start off, like I like to use the codes, because these 28 USC 3002 is the ones that really woke me up, and I started studying them. So some people do use the natural person word. I steered clear from the person word because person can't put you under their jurisdiction. And that's where you started, jurisdiction. As soon as they feel they have jurisdiction, I feel like they're going in. You know, I'm not a licensed attorney or tax expert. I do this for educational and informational purposes only. Ways that I believe they get jurisdiction first is by saying you're a person. Some people teach a lot about the Constitution too, because you know Noble Drew Ali says don't put your Bible down or the Constitution, like the United States Constitution. So with that being said, if you know Article 3, let me slow it down though, because I'm talking kind of fast. Article 3 of the Constitution is what breaks down the court powers or the judicial powers. So I started here, like starting to try to learn this first. You got to understand that the judicial power, which is the court power, judicial means court, it belongs to the Supreme Court. Sorry, it keeps clicking. It belongs to the Supreme Court, and inferior means lower courts, as Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. So for any court to be valid, there has to be a delegation order or an order of power, like a certificate of authority, but we're going to say delegation order because that's the correct term. A delegation order from the Supreme Court or Congress. And their codes go along with this too. Court means any court created by the Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. So I just want y'all to understand this before you get confused. It is a lawful court. It is a lawful jurisdiction. It's a tax issue. So this is what you have to understand. I don't believe they're hiding anything from us. I just believe we were miseducated. and maybe misguided. And some of the people that are teaching you or guiding you in life in the public education system may not even be aware of these things. Also, debt means any amount that's owed to the United States. When you go to court, they say, do you understand your charge? Almost every court in America has a clerk, and what does a clerk do? Clerk collects money, and all the clerks are CPAs, which is personal accountants, okay? So there's a reason why they have clerks and CPAs. The judge is a fiduciary administering your trust, okay? So it's a tax issue always. That's what they say, do you understand your charge? This is how I look at it, all right? And it's a debt that's owed to the United States. Shows you what a debtor is, and it's always going to say a person, just like with a criminal charge. It always says when a person does this, when a person does this. So this is why you have to be careful with saying that person word. This person, again, includes a natural person, corporation, unincorporated association, a trust, and a state, or any other public or private entity, person. So this is one way they grab jurisdiction when they fit you in this category as person or property. Okay? Because a person is property. They're pretty much one and the same. Property held in a trust, okay? We even stay away from the Indian word. Some people put that they're Indians as well. I stay away from the Indian word because that's the benefit of the United States. You know, then it also breaks down state means United States, and then United States means federal corporation. I need y'all to understand this first if you want to understand my process or understand my process on what's going on. And it ties back right to the Constitution, Article 3. But this is just not something I'm bringing up. I might bring up the laws of the Republic, but I don't really bring up Constitution because when you do these is going to make you an enemy of the state until you invoke the laws of the Republic. I know they take an oath to uphold the Constitution, but they take another oath to the corporate America. And this is truly who they reign allegiance to, is the federal corporation. So starting off, what I like to do is you must always understand your name is a business when going into court. It's a tax issue. Let me say this again. This is what I believe. It's a tax issue. Because if they don't have a delegation order or they don't have authority from Congress for this to even be a court, and most people are not asking, like, hey, can you show me that this is a lawful court? Where do you get your subject matter jurisdiction? I just don't go in there and challenge jurisdiction. I'm asking where your authority is for the jurisdiction. Because they have a jurisdiction or they wouldn't be operating. All right? And they have a jurisdiction based off contracts that you have with this private corporation right here in the United States. So that's how I'm hoping that makes sense. So right here it tells you, I'm read this to you again. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. So your name is converted into a sole prop. This is how I look at it. A sole proprietorship, also known as a sole tradership, individual entrepreneurship, or proprietorship is a type of enterprise owned and run by one person in which there's no legal distinction between the owner and business entity. So when you see your name in all capitalized letters, you see, anytime your name is out here anyways, whether it's in, you're going to a job, you're getting credit, any of those things, man, once it's printed on their publications, it's considered a sole proprietorship doing business with the United States corporation. And how I believe that is debt means any amount that's owed to the United States. Now, also, I'm going to touch a few things before we get to the meat of what I want to present to you today. I'm just freestyling this, but understand, everything belongs to the United States. Everybody that comes to my class, I want them to always understand who owns the United States national debt. And it's that some people call it the Sesta K By Trust. but in the public it's called the Social Security Trust Fund. And that's who owns the United States debt. This is how they're accessing your credit, okay? When you understand, well, especially in our community, we believe that all debt is prepaid, all right? And I believe that too. Everything is credits, all right? Everything is credits. Everything is a tax issue. Everything is managed with the U.S. Treasury, okay? And debt held by the public is $22.3 trillion. So they're always after, because this is what's owed to the public. So these corporations are really set up to help the so-called trustee or the beneficiary, which is the people. But they switch everything so they can get the benefits. You know, they set up a private contract so they can get the benefits. And I do want y'all to know, according to the system that we're in, people talk about gold, but in their system, Federal Reserve, not Federal Reserve notes, but I don't even want to go. I want to go to Investopia. United States Treasury, it says, lawful money is a form of any currency issued by the United States Treasury and not the Federal Reserve System. So FRN, Federal Reserve notes, are just promissory notes. They're issued to you as like you're a stockholder of the United States, so they owe you some money, okay? If you have a Federal Reserve note right now in your hand, that means the Federal Reserve owes you some money. Now it says it includes gold and silver, Treasury notes, and Treasury bonds. So I need you to understand, there's no fiat money, which is the Federal Reserve notes. I need you to understand, in their system, Treasury notes and Treasury bonds is also lawful money. They view Treasury notes and Treasury bonds as lawful money. This is, I'm not trying to confuse y'all, do anything like that, but this is why there's a system, there's a process when you're dealing with the Treasury. And when you're dealing with the Social Security Trust Fund, you're creating notes with the Treasury, okay? I hope that makes sense. You're creating notes with these entities that's contracting with the Treasury. So I hope that makes sense. So I want you to know, like, they're considered honorable courts, and you have to view them as such. All right? Another proof that you could look at that courts are really banks, okay? I need you to know, courts are really banks. Bank means bench, or bench means bank. The bench on which the judge of court sits is really called a bank. I just want y'all to see that. It's the bench, the king's bench. The bank is also a place where you keep your money in an account. Then number two, bench and seat. In bank. I just want y'all to see this. You have a bail bondsman. They contract with bail bondsmen. They're brokers. You follow me? They deal with bonds. You know, what is just understanding these. A bond represents a promise by a borrower to pay a lender the principal and usually interest on a loan. Bonds are issued by governments, municipalities. So it shows there's evidence of a debt. So if a bondsman can get a write-off on a bond or accept a bond, he's accepting you as his property type, I would say. Like they're converting you into property, now you're held liable. You're the surety for it. So I just want y'all to see that this is commerce. It's nothing but commerce, all right? And you have to view it as they're doing nothing wrong. You just don't know the rules. And just remember, whatever you show love is going to show you love back. So remember that. But remember, sole proprietorship, this makes you liable. There's no legal distinction between the owner and the business entity. So when you're converted to a sole prop, there's a reason why they call it sole, but sole means one, but they convert you to it, and you prop the soil your foot on that birth certificate. But anytime a business messes up, I just use my name, are you Jeffrey Wayne McBride Jr.? And I decided to say yes, that just puts me under their jurisdiction because they're only talking about businesses. And they're already viewing me as a sole prop. because I haven't distinguished that I'm not liable for that business. All right, and that can't go against your right to contract. So I make my name an LLC. Let me show you that too. I made my name an LLC. I'll show you the one in Missouri. And this is how I started getting around things. Let's see, let me look. Business. And the same thing with my kids. I made their name a business owned by my LLC. As you can see, it's still active. This one since 2019. And it's the LLC. It's the all caps name with LLC at the end. And so anytime they're like, are you Jeffrey Wayne McBride Jr.? I'm the authorized representative. This is a business and I can prove it. And that's how I do it. Anything with their stamp on it. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Yeah, y'all can see it. Anything with their stamp on it, they're going to have to abide by. That has the Secretary of State stamp on it. That's his signature with the, the filing number. So anytime they want to say, hey, even with debt, because you got to understand, since the court is a bank, they're just trying to say you're liable for debt. So this is one way to get out of it. Like, my name's not a sole prop. I'm understanding that. I hope this makes sense. If you're following along in the chat, if you need me to slow down, you can tell me to slow down. If you need me to run back something again, let me know. Just type it in the chat. I'll check out the chat. So a lot of people say make your name a trust, which is estate planning. But I believe you should also have a pastoral entity. This is just my way of doing it. But probate also means court. And when you set up trust correctly, that bypasses probate. All these courts are to me is they're administering a public trust because they owe you all this credit. So they're just doing what you say due to your misguidance. Because I promise you, Jewish people aren't getting in trouble, and Amish people aren't getting in trouble. And these are real nationalities. Y'all already know who Jewish people are. How many Jewish people are in jail? How many Jewish people do you see in prison? Just think about that. You follow me? And then Amish people, they got their own government as well. They don't accept welfare, which is public benefits, Social Security, Medicare, or other government assistance. Peace and love, peace and love.
Islam. Hey, bro, they sent a chat that they do want you to elaborate on the LLC as the name. If you don't mind, can I camelback off Black's Law Dictionary to help out?
Do you, man? You can type in anytime, man. Just slow me up.
Peace and love. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to camelback you off the name into the LLC because we talking about the person. So I'm going to go right into Black's Law Dictionary to give the people a definition of person so they can have a clear understanding when the brother says he can change the name into a LLC, which is a corporation, is an entity. How you can do this because your name was already a LLC. It was already a sole proprietor. So he taking it from sole proprietor status to LLC. So I'm going to read this definition to clarify some things. And then I'll give it back to you, brother. Okay, person. This is out of Black's Law Dictionary to 5th edition. If you got a Black's Law Dictionary, you should have one. 5th edition, page 1028, person. In general usage, a human being. So in general usage, everyday usage, it means a human being, i.e. natural person. So when we talking about person, you have to clarify which type of person. Now we talking about natural person means a human being. And that's just in general usage according to Black's Law Dictionary, right? Now, though by statute term may include a firm, labor organization, partnerships, associations, corporations, legal representatives, trustees in bankruptcies, or receivers. And that's according to National Labor Relations Act, subsection 2. Now, just to backdoor off this, when you're dealing with statutory terms, which is statutory law, statutory is a substitute word for artificial. So when you're saying statutory laws and statutes and things like that, you're talking about the artificial side of the law, commercial side. So when we say person in statutory law, we're talking about a firm, labor organizations, partnerships, associations, corporations, etc. Okay. Now I'm going to go on with the definition of straw man, Islam, so we can get a clear understanding of what we're dealing with here. And that's out of Black's Law Dictionary. Once again, 5th edition, page 1274. If you got Black's Law, you can follow along. Straw man or party, a front, and they put that in parentheses, a front. I mean, in quotations, not parentheses, in quotations, a front. So that means hint. That means that's a hint. It's a front. So that means it's something you can use to hide the true identity of something. It's like a LLC has no owner. So it's a front. Because you will never know who the true owner of the LLC is unless they disclose that. A person who is put up in name only to take part in a deal. A nominal party to a transaction. One who acts as an agent for another for the purpose of taking title to real property and executing whatever documents and instruments the principal may direct respecting the property. So just off that measure, you can see that this is a front that you put up to take title to real property and execute a document or an instrument with. But the principal is the one who's directing it. And the principal would be the natural person directing the person, which is statutory corporation. Person who purchases property for another to conceal identity of real purchaser. So that's once again an entity like a trust or a corporation. These are entities. These are what you call a person. So when you talk about your name, a nom de guerre, ens legis, you just talking about a person. Corporation. So with these corporations, you can register them unincorporated. You can do a lot of things with them. So that's just to come back and give some clarification on that. But I yield the floor to you, brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, man. That was you're dope. That's well worded, man. I couldn't explain it better myself. I just noticed in Missouri, when I first started coming into this knowledge, they wasn't giving me the floor. Because just like, I know you understand, we don't file things pro se. The prosecutor's the prosecutor. We do a sui juris because it's a tax issue, the right to contract. And we always correct the record. But when I use natural person in the federal courts, I didn't have a lot of luck. They wouldn't even hear me. They kept trying to give me co-counsel. So when I quit using natural person, now this is 2017. When I quit using natural person, and I didn't know what word to use, so I said, let me try living soul, because it has live in it. They accepted all my paperwork, and I had the right to speak. They even switched sides. I was on the other side, the side the prosecution's supposed to be on. So they made me the plaintiff. So I really like that. In the state though, I tried it again. So let me see what it does with the state. State and city, it works for me in Missouri, utilizing the natural person, and just didn't help me in federal jurisdiction. It's the same way with the so-called affidavit of sovereignty. When I first started, I stayed away from that word. I just put affidavit of truth on it. But to get it, it's considered an affidavit of sovereignty on here somewhere. Well, it might be this right here. Yeah. It just says don't use the social security number, the driver's license. I put this in the chat too. But I named the affidavit of truth as well, just like this. And they accepted it in the they accepted it in the federal jurisdiction and like put it on the record. Now a lot of things will be under seal when you're dealing with a federal jurisdiction. But I just looked at it. So we talking about traffic law, nonviolent cases, and then child support. So I'm gonna stick to the script. So sui juris, I would always put that I'm sui juris, never pro se. They were like, are you operating pro se? I would say, for the record, I am operating a sui juris, which is my right to contract, all right? You know, what is a sui juris beneficiary? Sui juris means a person who is in, let's say, not a minor or otherwise. So you're not a minor, because you know they say you're a minority. And in the court system, which we know is a bank, it's all financial now. That gives you a minor account, and they get to create more minor accounts because they get to control the majority of what's going on because you're not competent. I just want y'all to see that it is like all crimes are commercial. Let's just say 5 years in prison and such fine. Like it's all commerce. It's all money. It's all dealing with the credit. All governments operate off full faith and credit. The full faith and credit clause addresses the duties that states within the United States have respect to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state. So everything is credit. I don't want to keep confusing y'all. But look, so y'all see this. The Amish, they have their own government authority. That's what Noble Drew Ali left our people. The same thing that's still going on today with the Amish, because they're still here. I'm from the Midwest, so I've seen this a lot growing up. So it wasn't even a question when I started learning these things. Like, yeah, let's go. They got their own IDs, they got their own identifications. You don't know, you don't see it because it's not something they put in the public because it's a private education. So I'm just saying, like, I know most of my people here are melanated. So just ask anybody you know that's locked behind the wall or incarcerated. Is there any Jewish people in there? Is there any Amish people in there? Probably not. But I want y'all to see this, the liability. Sole proprietorships do not have the protection of limited liability. Instead, the sole owner has unlimited liability. This means that the sole owner is personally liable for the debts and expenses of the business if the business is sued, and the sole owner risks losing their personal assets. So you understand that for a crime, for there to have to be a real crime, there has to be an injured party or property damage. If there's no injured party or property damage, this is a civil case, it's not a real crime, and they are suing you. It's trading with the enemy. It's really what it is. Trading with the enemy. It says them versus you. Now, with the reason why the LLC is important, I showed y'all the LLC. I use codes and statutes. I'm not going to go in a state court talking about Black Law's Dictionary. I'm not even going to go in a state court talking about trust because they're trained not to even understand any of those things. I'm going to stick to the codes and the statutes. Whether it's somebody suing you, a debt collector, or whether it's the prosecutor, they don't have, first of all, we'll talk about the oath of office because this is your right. You need to see a delegation order so you can see where their authority derives because this is a court of record, right? Well, I can't take your word that you're a lawful judge. I'm going to need to see proof of this. Can you show me your oath of record? It's a court of record. Same with the prosecutor. These are things I just want y'all to know. You can prove, if your name's an LLC, you can prove that name's a business. And they're trying to administer and take from your assets. This is how I'm looking at it. Like, now you just updated your status. It's that simple with an LLC. That's how I look at it. Now, I need you to know that LLCs are just pass-through entities, so don't get relied just on this LLC. You still going to have to start learning trust or holding companies and things of these nature. So you just don't keep assets there because then you will create a big, huge tax liability. All right? So I just want to throw that out there. There's still more to it, but these are the beginning steps. Making your name a business. When you hear the name Michael Jordan, when you hear the name Donald Trump, LeBron James, these are businesses. And let that sink in. Like, all those are business names. They're operating as a business. When you hear your name is a business. It's being used as a business and always been used as a business, especially if you're in this corporation. Especially if you got a social security number or a birth certificate. Certificate means title of ownership when you look up these things. I got the screen share on. Certificate is just a title of ownership. A certificate provides documentary evidence of the right of ownership. And I also want to show you I want to show you another definition. I can't remember which one I want to show. Oh, stock warrant. Well, I ask you to understand your charge. A stock warrant represents the right to purchase the company's stock at a specific price at a specific date. A stock warrant is issued directly by a company to an investor. Somebody had asked, do you have to have insurance to travel on public roads? It has to be a domestic or foreign. Go back to what you said about making them LLC and what that makes over your name. You need to start studying business. I ain't gonna get too deep in all of these. Peace and love, peace and love. I don't get too deep in everything, but it's a business. If you don't understand, it's a business. Because what is a trust? You follow me? And it starts with your creative mind first. So you're gonna have to start. If you're not studying, you're gonna have to learn how to talk to yourself and have that relationship with your higher power. Because a true trust or a true bond in commerce is one with your higher power or higher self. Because if you have a business out here, you're operating off your thoughts, right? Your mind and your thoughts create your creativity and your actions. So your business is whatever's going on in your mind. That's your business. You follow me? I hope that makes sense. So I like, the reason why I like coming into Islam teaching this is because I self-law and master, all right? First of all, so you need to understand you lead yourself every step of the way. So why are you leading yourself to this situation? What is it you're supposed to learn? That's what you got to know first of all, before you can start gaining clarity. But make your name a business and start operating off of that. And then when you start understanding trust, you can, or holding companies, the private trust or the holding company will own or be the beneficiary of your name. That's the LLC. So you're not even the owner. You got a whole nother company or a whole nother trust. You're just coming to, hey, I'm here as an authorized representative. I'm contracting with this business or I'm contracting with this trust to handle these matters. You're like a customer service rep, so to speak. On behalf of, you can't say you're that name, because if you say you're that name, that makes you the sole prop. Now you're held liable, especially if the business messed up. I will get into the traffic stuff too. I'm going to have to pull up one of my emails. Let me keep going. So we got the Article 3. Went over that. So we can go. The abatement is for that too. The abatement process is for traffic. Yes, sir?
I want to backdoor you on that trust.
Oh, go ahead.
Just get some clarification. Because I know that trust is a real important factor. And I know a lot of people, it's complicated. I'm going to be honest, it took me a couple of years to understand the trust fully, you know, because I came from an understanding, not understanding entities. So I'm going to read out our self-love book that we share with you guys. And the 102 questionnaire, 86, 87, 88, kind of clarifies the trust for you. Okay, it says, what is a trust? A trust is a fiduciary arrangement that allows a third party or trustee to hold assets on behalf of a beneficiary or beneficiaries. Trust can be arranged in many ways and specify exactly how and when the assets pass to the beneficiaries. 87 says, what is the duty of a trustee? There are three primary duties of a trustee: investment, administration, and distribution. The trustee also has a fiduciary duty to include loyalty, interests of the beneficiary, prudence, managing trust property, and subsidiary impartiality. Okay, so you want to know what is a trust, because that's very important to this whole dynamic of everything. When you talk about a treaty, constitution, any really contract you get into, it's a trust, because a trust is just simply a contract, but it's just structured in a different way where it has to include three parties, right? So it's important to know that everything you do in this world is a trust. When you go to the parking garage, you enter into a trust. You go into a parking garage and pay a parking attendant. The parking attendant now is the trustee. You just trusted him with your property, and that's your car. And it's for your benefit, for protection. So you become beneficiary and you the trustor or the grantor of the property. So that's how trust works, and that's how contract works. So everything you get into, everywhere you go, is a contract, especially when you're dealing with these courts. As soon as you get issued a court case, that is trust. It's called a constructive trust. It's two types of trust. You got express trust, and then you got constructive trust. That means that it's implied by the operation of law. That means that when they gave you this all capital name versus the state of Texas or whatever the state is, they constructed a trust against you. And what the brother explained to you is when you start operating on your own private trust, you can control the public trust. But you have to understand trust in full. Like, you might have to study it, go through some classes, whatever. But you need to understand trust fully.
That's why I take my people to the LLC first. Because if you start learning how to operate your name as a business correctly, then we can go to the next step of the trust. Because now you understand different roles. And all I have to do is change the name of the roles. You follow me? That's why I teach my people about holding companies. You know, a holding company owns no assets. They just hold them. Just like a trust. You know, things are considered investments. And I see y'all asking a few questions. I'm not going to go deep into how you set up your LLC, what you should label it, what you should do. I'm not going to do that. You know, if you need Brother Antoine to help you, or, you know, I'm not going to solicit my service on here, but I'm not going over that. I charge a lot of money for these things, and I work with celebrities as well. But because they want to, when you start learning about the public life and you really start opening your eyes and you just sign a certain contract, you want out of that life. I just want y'all to know that everybody thinks they want fame and all of this. No, you don't. Understanding that it is a trust, though, then you got to understand who's acting as a fiduciary. And I'll bring up the definition of a fiduciary. Because public trustees are fiduciaries for the public trust. They act on behalf of another person or persons, putting their client's interests ahead of their own, with a duty to preserve good faith and trust. Being a fiduciary thus requires being bound both legally and ethically to act in the other's best interests. That's a good definition. So this is only dealing with like trust and money, you know, but most definitely trust. So these are public trustees. When you sign certain agreements, especially IRS documents or Department of Treasury documents, because you see this right here, it says Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. Until you start filling out certain forms on behalf of that name, so you limit that liability. Because if I'm filling out tax forms and my name is not an LLC, it's still operating as a sole prop, guess who's liable if I mess up? So this is why you have to go as a LLC. Even if you go into court, you're operating from the LLC. You really can't mess up unless you say I'm that name. You know, because it limits your liability. You're just there contracting with that business on behalf of that business. All right. So when I'm with court issues, and it says your straw man name right here, the all caps name.
Islam,
peace and love.
Don Kilam. Are you still screen sharing?
Yeah, can you see it?
No, we can't see the screen.
Hold on, you're right. Let me see. You see it now?
Islam, yep.
All right. So right here, I don't know what happened. Like I'm looking at the Form 56 is what I'm looking at. As you see right here in the corner, it says Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. I need you to know, department, this would be considered, even though it's a form, it's still considered a note. That's what people ain't understanding. It's still considered a note. Aren't you gonna put notes in it? Like that's how I'm looking at it, and that's how I look at everything. So, I mean, you can make your own forms and just stamp Department of Treasury, put an affidavit, a fiduciary relationship. That works too if you choose not to use their forms. All right, that's on some advanced stuff. But as you see right here. And this is in the Word is Bond book. These forms are free from the IRS, Form 56. And when you start understanding trust, I don't want to throw y'all too off, but you're going to be dealing with the Form 56F. That's totally two different forms, and this is for the financial institution. You want to understand trust are banks, just like a court is a bank. So to be honest, you are a bank. You're a private bank and just don't know it because you have the Social Security Trust account. And you administer it every day. That trust is a bank. And that's why you should create an LLC for your name. Limit your liability from that bank. But we put in the judge name, I'm always putting doing business as, whatever they're, you know, say I got Judge John Jackson. I'm going to put I'm going to put John Jackson, his regular name, doing business as, you know, the Marion County Court Judge. Court address, put other right here, I'll mark them down. And then I'll put the court's information right here. So just this simple form alone, I'm showing that it's a tax issue. I took it from me gifting my credits. Because I'm telling you, they know the law. They know the law. The lifetime gift tax exemption is $11.7 million. So they can take, you can gift up to $11.7 million to them while you're in court, in credits. I hope that makes sense without them having to file any taxes or anything. But when you go back to 28 U.S.C. 3002, you understand. Subsection 2, which we already went over, but I want to show y'all again. If Congress didn't create that court, it's a tax issue. And if you're gifting your credits to them, You can do that up to 11.7 million. But it's not going to be a tax until you assess it. You have to learn to assess this tax. So one form, when I'm filing my paperwork, I send them a blank W-9. When you open up any bank account, just think about it. A personal bank account especially. When you open up that bank account, you fill out a W-9, and if you didn't, they send it to you in the mail to ask you to fill it out later. Call your bank, ask them, say, did I fill out a W-9? This is making it a tax issue, all right? You're asking for the EIN number, how you operating in commerce out here. And this is the beginning steps to assess that tax. I'm not going to get too much into 1099 OID, but that stuff's real. W-8 ban as well, you can file this because you're foreign. You're foreign to the United States corporation. We're not saying we're foreign to the United States of America, the Republic. We're foreign to the corporation. 28 U.S.C. 3002, Section 15A. And you got to know these codes because the code is what implements the power. The code is the cheat codes of life. Like, I understand you should know common law. You should know natural law and what's going on. But you still need to understand codes, especially if you're implementing the LLC. But I'm implementing United States codes when dealing with this. I really don't implement too many state statutes, but sometimes I do because any state means the United States. They get their funding from the United States federal corporation. Most of these courts, they convert your notes into securities just like any other debt, and then they get paid off them. The state is your country. Just know that. You know, if you're from Florida, you're a Floridian. If you're from Texas, you're a Texan. You can claim that as your nationality if you don't understand how to use the Moroccan way. I like to use the state way. I like to use that because that's their codes and statutes. You know, 8 U.S.C. 1408. Nationals but not citizens of the United States at birth. These are where we're getting our power from when we're implementing these codes. A person born in the outlying possession of the United States on or after the date of formal acquisition. We can be nationals but not citizens. All right. And that's pretty much. I don't put my social in here. I just put the birth certificate filing number, maybe EIN. Send a foreign status affidavit. This is all in the Word is Bond book too. And I gave it to Brother Antoine if he wants to send it to y'all, whatever he wants to do with it. Foreign status affidavit shows you're foreign to the United States. Since it's a tax issue, we're showing that it's a tax issue. We're showing why we're tax exempt. It's that simple. In the same way with jurisdiction, you can get jurisdiction from addresses. That's why we put in care of, or I use virtual addresses. Same way with the zip code. Put the zip code in brackets because that means it's not real. A zip code will get you under the jurisdiction if you utilize a zip code. You just got to think about it. State your name for the record. That's going to get you under the jurisdiction. Where do you live? Where are you employed? Things of those natures. You know, so they'll be like, state your name for the record. My mom calls me son. My children call me father. Where do you live? I live in a house. Well, where are you from? I'm from Earth. You know, just things like that. Where do you reside? I reside in the flesh. This letter of rogatory for relief, and I'm telling you, I put this on with traffic cases too. Like, I know it's a lot of paperwork, and you really don't need to do too much with a traffic case, but I still do it. I still file bonds with traffic cases, all of that. A letter of rogatory for relief, and you see it's under the Hague Convention. This is just breaking down the fraud. It's going to show you what they're doing as far as converting these causes and claims into securities. That's what the letter of rogatory for relief is showing, and it's showing exactly what they're doing from each organization. And everything does go to the state's attorney's office, because that's who can give the general attorney. There's a reason why I call it a general. Like, a term means to turn over, but what is a definition of a general? I never looked this up. General means belonging to or prevailing throughout a... The principal legal officer who represents a country or a state in legal proceedings and gives legal advice to the government. So, like, I just want y'all to know, like, this is who you get your rights from, really. Like, they can most definitely, especially in the system, this is who you need to be dealing with after you've done your processes with these lower entities. You send it to them because you get your rights back from the Attorney General's office. Like, you're at war for real, on paper. So that's how you gotta look at it. And you gotta learn how to become friends with the United States. And that's why I like the Moors, man. They got the Moorish flags and they got the American flags standing side by side. We're friends with the United States.
Islam.
Everything filed in court is securitized without the knowledge or consent of the people and all parties involved. And that's when any debt, I want y'all to see that, number 11. That's when any debt, they're turned into asset-backed securities. I'm going to go over this real quick because this is with debt. The same thing that's happening with these other corporations is happening in court. And that's where they learned it from the court system. An asset-backed security is, I probably should show you mortgage-backed security. It makes more sense. But basically, your loans, you're loaning the government your credit is what's going on. All right, you're going to convert it into an asset. It takes the form of a bond or note. You get a bond when you're in court, correct? They pull these together. They put them together. And these create income-generating assets such as credit cards, home equity loans, student loans, auto loans, in your court case. I'll put it like that. Credit card payments, we won't even say receivables. Credit card payments, home loans, student loans, auto loans, in your court case. Your court case. I'm going to break this down so you understand what's going on with your business, okay, that you didn't even know you had. I'm going to break it down with the MBS now. Now, the MBS is the mortgage-backed security. I like these definitions better because I can explain it better. So what happens when they securitize them, your court case, it goes to the district courts if it's a state case. Now it's going to say there's two types of let me see, I'm looking for it. I'm on the wrong one. There's two types of mortgage-backed securities is what I'm looking for. And I just want to teach y'all about the pass-through trust. There are two types of mortgage-backed securities. Pass-through. This is the pass-through trust. Pass-throughs are structured, and where'd it go? Pass-throughs are structured as trusts in which mortgage payments are collected and passed through to investors. They typically have stated maturities of 5, 15, or 30 years. The life of a pass-through may be less than the stated maturity depending on the principal payments on the mortgages that make up the pass-through. So, when you get a debt, you're making payment. You got a mortgage, you got a credit card, whatever. You're making payment to that LLC. That LLC is investing it to the trust. Then the trust can send it to the people that it considers their investors. Because it's not like the LLC is paying the trust. The LLC is just a pass-through entity. They collect it. Say you had a nonprofit organization, and in that nonprofit organization owned a house, and you wanted to rent it. Well, I'm going to need an LLC to collect that rent and then donate the money to the nonprofit organization. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. That's what's going on with court. That's what I broke down in the letter I wrote to her. Breaks down to 1099 OID too, if you know that stuff. But this is showing you everything that's going on. Everybody's not going to understand it at first, but this is breaking down the fraud. And you need to understand a fact cannot enter the courtroom. These are facts. They call it, it says, I am the executor of the Social Security Trust. That's what it is. So I would read the letter of rogatory thoroughly. I would read it out loud. Same way with the notice of mistake. And this is kind of like the abatement. This is how I learned the abatement process, because notice of mistake is like the abatement process, where we're going to take responsibility and say, hey, we made a mistake. I'm the sole beneficiary of a public document. I've been incorrectly identified and accused or suspected. Forgive me. You got to understand, you have to, if there's a negative avertment on the record, things can't ever rule in your favor. These are the scales of justice, baby. So you got to keep everything balanced, all right, and correct the record. You know, I can tell the judge, fuck you, Your Honor. Like, I'm going to hold you in contempt. I apologize, Your Honor. And then I just got rid of the negative avertment. And I hope that makes sense. But with the notice of mistake, we're just apologizing that if we claim to be that name, all right? And then we're asking, as the surety bond or the birth certificate has been deposited in the court, what evidence does the court have that I, this man who is not lawfully entitled to the benefits of the birth certificate, have any surety in this matter? When I'm saying surety, because I know a lot of people might not know, when I'm saying surety, Brother Antoine likes to show y'all definitions in Black's Law. I'm going to show y'all common definitions. A surety is traditionally defined as a person or entity who agrees in writing to answer for the debt or default of another. And that's what happens when you're a sole prop. You're surety for that business. So again, a surety is traditionally defined as a person or entity who agrees in writing to answer for the debt or default of another. Look, what is a surety bond? The surety bond is like a security deposit, with the party promising to do something as the renter in person they owe obligations to. And this is why you got to understand the United States has to be a corporation. Because when you decide to contract with them, now you have to work for them. And that's how they're looking at it. And that's why they give you pay, whether it's below minimum wage or not. Like I said, we always demand oath of office. I like Trinity versus Pagliaro. I use this case and I bring up stare decisis too, all right, in case law. So when you understand business and you understand how to fully set up your LLC, who you really want to own your LLC is a charging order protection state. And I don't want to get too deep, but these are the charging order protection states. This is why I'm always in Nevada. And the benefit of having a holding company in Nevada is anytime there's an issue, they are going to use case law or stare decisis to settle disputes. And I don't have to share anything with the IRS. And the reason being is if my holding company in Nevada owns my name, then all these rules imply. Like I get to invoke, not only do I have jurisdiction in the state that I'm in, I can also imply Nevada rules. But I don't want to throw y'all off too much. But Trinity versus Pagliaro basically states a prosecutor can't be a witness and a public trustee. Like which one are they doing? An attorney for the plaintiff cannot admit evidence in the court. He's either an attorney or a witness. Trinity versus Pagliaro. I put this in every court issue I have. Child support. Think about it. Why wouldn't you want to use this for child support? An attorney for the plaintiff cannot admit evidence into the court. He's either an attorney or a witness. How can an attorney admit evidence into a court if he's not a witness? You can't play two jackets. The same way with public officials. How are you my public trustee and you're the accuser? You can't do both. You can't do both. How the cop gonna pull you over, and especially if there wasn't no emergency, he's gonna pull you over and then be the witness against you? You can't. He's a foreign agent. An attorney for the plaintiff cannot admit evidence in the court. He's either an attorney or a witness. Trinity versus Pagliaro. The same way with this is just how you gotta think about it. If you're fighting, I see people. If you're a defendant in the state of Texas, how is the state of Texas going to represent you, be against you, and be the judge? Because you accept it. That's why. You said you understood. This is just a basic. I put my disputes in there too. 1099s. Power of attorney. Like I said, I put living soul. I always utilize living soul, but whatever you feel comfortable with doing, I let them know the names, copyrighted, trademark, all of that. Because when you prove this, you understand they're a corporation. They keep putting your private name, this all caps name, which is a business, in their publications. They're a corporation. You can pull your name out those publications. You gave them the right to print your name. You didn't take control of it. But this is the power of attorney. Get rid of any attorneys. I do not utilize attorneys whatsoever. Unless you know how to appoint them as co-counsel, make you holder of due course, and then tell them what to do. Director of Affairs. We always demand to dismiss. People are scared to say demand. I just want y'all to see this. Demand means an assertion of a legal right. A demand is a claim which presumes that no doubt exists regarding its legal force and effect. It is a request made with authority. A legal demand is one that is made by a lawful, authorized individual and is proper as to form and place. So we file demands. We do not file motions. I mean, I'm going to put that out there again. Same way, y'all see everything's labeled as an affidavit or a notice. We don't file motions. When you file a motion, you're asking somebody to move. And then at the end, you're usually praying to another man. We pray that the honorable courts agree to this motion. I'm not asking the courts to move. I'm telling the courts what to do because this is my court. Demand to dismiss due to reservation of rights. When you understand the business, all rights reserved. You know, it's all business. And then we're using the declaration of rights under cover of law. 18 U.S.C. 242. And then conspiracy against your rights. Notice of reservation of rights. You need to reserve them and retain them at all times as well, especially when you're signing things. You see the sui juris right there. You know, and somebody asked if they're getting the templates. Let me just show you really fast. If he sends it to you, he sends you the ebook. You see this? I love PDF.com, PDF to Word. You see this? You see this? Word, PDF to Word. You see that? And you select the file. It's that simple. Boom. Now you got your own templates. Convert to Word. Now you got your own templates.
Islam.
You don't have to ask him. You don't have to.
I sent that file there.
Time is money. Y'all gotta understand that time is valuable. I'm doing my cease and desist. Ending all actions. Because it's a debt. You don't understand. I had to throw that in there. I had to throw the I love PDF in there so y'all can go blowing people up. And look. When you get it, you just copy and paste it. You hear me? Boom. Copy, paste it. Whatever you need to do, take your time, you do it, because we busy. I'm telling y'all babies, kids, y'all don't die, y'all multiply. I would never accept the form of a minority, because I promise you, you're the majority. Now, I always let them know, hey, I come in peace. We come in peace. So, you know, there's also something called a peace bond as well. Just let them know I come in peace. I'm friends with the United States. I'm here to aid and reduce the public debt. It's $20-something trillion. I'm here to aid in reducing the public debt. I'm here to help you, Your Honor. Always include your fee schedule. The reason being, how do you get remedy if you're not including how to give you remedy? The courts can't help you if you don't tell them how to help you. How do they come up with their fines? You know, so once you prove that you're a business, because this is corporate America, the police are policy officers. They're here to protect policies. They can't protect your policy if you don't have one. All right? They can't implement your policy if you don't have one. Boom. Implied color of law. And then you have to make your own charges. Unlawful lien on motor conveyance. Whatever it may be. Check out the fee schedule. And create your own. Failure to honor God-given rights. That's 20 bands right there. I just want y'all to see. Make sure you have a fee schedule. Or how can you get remedy? You're always the secured party creditor. Need you to know that. Make an affidavit stating so. I like to use my state EIN or just a regular EIN. I don't even necessarily. So look, check me out. Now, I hope this makes sense for y'all. It's not going to make sense for everybody. I'm just touching the bases, and I'm trying to dumb things down so you understand it as clear as possible and gain clarity. But clarity comes from the Most High. Remember that. Wisdom comes from the Most High. When utilizing my LLC in the public with court officials or getting out of debt, whatever it may be, I'm using a trust EIN number or a state EIN number. I'm not using an LLC EIN number ever. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not using an LLC EIN number. I'm using an irrevocable trust EIN number or an estate EIN number. Not even using it. I'm letting them know this is a trust that's administering this. Give them their own arrest warrant, and this is going to start. The reason why I do this, and I got this from Patrick Devine, the reason why I like this, create my own warrant, is because this is going after contracts and then the bonds, when you understand the bonds. And at the beginning of this book, I'm breaking down the bonds, and I got that information from Gene Keaton. That's who helped it make sense for me. I have seen this stuff work. I've got people out of prison. It's got me out of prison. I just talk about my things. My brother in Chicago, he don't care if I shot him out every single day dog training. He had like 4 or 5 cases, wrecked his car, had cannabis, a lot of different things. They tried to take his license, all those things, man. Before trial, he contacted me. We did this process. Everything got dismissed due to COVID. And his license is back. You know, sometimes they make things up, but that's what it is. He still went to court, though. Once I file my paperwork, I don't go to court no more. This is breaking down this letter right here. It's so bonds and securities bearing your name. And then we're asking for the GSA forms again. Releasing the liens on the real property. Because how to make you a surety, they're putting liens against you and your real property. So this letter breaks down exactly what's going on with the liens. And just make sure y'all read this stuff and understand what's going on. Just don't fill it out. Understand what's going on. But this is a letter to release the lien. Right here. So you see your birth certificate number right here. But right here, the government contract number. You can put the social. You can even put your the court case number right here. Like Brother Antoine Bey was saying, he said there's express trust and constructive trust. And basically, you're expressing out loud when you're in the courtroom so they can create more constructive trust. But it's all being expressed on the record. And you're telling the government what to do. I need y'all to understand that. You're always telling the government what to do. You're always in control. You're always in power. The government can't move until they hear certain key words from you. And you see, the county recorder's office, this is where we start to file everything. When you start the status correction, everything, I start with the county. Now, if you're in a court case, that's cool. You can file your information for free. It's really a good, if you have a non-violent case, that's the best way to update your status for free. It's just send it to them. Just being honest. Release of personal property from escrow, the same way. Everything's filled out the same way. But you see right here, account number, they put the case number right here. I don't think that one has it yet. They put the case number right here. They did put the social right here. And the same thing with these. These are considered GSA bonds. If you don't know what you're doing, leave them alone. I'm talking about this works for child support. This works for everything. All these things I'm going over works for everything. But I'm still going to touch the traffic and then child support real quick. But these are all the forms. I will use all of these. Consent and surety. That's standard form 1414, and you see they're already filled out with somebody's info. 1416, standard form 1416. These are all the bonds. These are the bonds that they're going to fill out on you, that you give them permission. When the court case is closed, this is what they're filling out and sending to the district courts. GSA form 1418. All you gotta do is read a letter of rogatory. Well, I give you all cover letters. All the cover letters are with this. Standard form 24, standard form 25, 25A, standard form 28. That's the individual surety. Standard form 30. And you can get this paperback book on Amazon. It's called Where's Mine? So I just want to go over that and then go through abatement real quick. And that's basically the same way I use this for traffic cases. You really want to send the ticket in ASAP. You want to send the ticket in like 3 days. You got like 3 days. You need to sign it, put accept for value. But this is just bringing down abatement. It's the same way. Certificate of service. It's yeah, it's basically talking about jurisdiction. Listen, in order for the court to have subject matter jurisdiction, the police officer who has issued and served their parent's traffic ticket must, on or before the return date, file with the criminal court a misdemeanor complaint, a simplified information or information charging a person named in the parent's ticket with the offense specified therein. And with this abatement, it's basically like a notice of mistake. Like, hey, we apologize. Yeah, the power of abatement is on Amazon. He asked if it's on Amazon. I did send this book to Antoine Bey too, so just send him a donation or whatever if he sends it to you. I sent him the power of abatement and where it's bond. This one's 204 pages. And it's basically what I just went over. It's just in different wording, a different format, and it might make sense to you. All right. But when I get to court a traffic ticket, I send things right away. All right. I send stuff right away. Notice a mistake. Reserve your rights. Demand to dismiss. All those what I just went over, man. Do the fiduciary form. Send it to the if it's a city case and you get your paperwork filed, or a state case, always send it to the district courts ahead of time. Yeah, I was trying to put it in the chat, man. It won't let me. He said he don't want to send it to everybody. It's not letting me send files in the chat. I was trying to send it to you everybody in the chat. But he said a Google Drive link. I can do a Google Drive real quick. I can upload it real quick. But I sent everything to the district courts, and then the real courts is the IRS. Remember that. The real courts is the IRS. So make sure you learn how to do the 1099 OID process. That's what's next. I'm going to touch child support really fast too, and then we can take some questions. I don't even know how long we've been on here. Let's see what he's saying.
Islam. Peace and love. Can you hear me, brother?
With Trinity versus Pagliaro, if you didn't hurt nobody, you ain't got no property. You got to learn how to implement that. He says, so we need to send it within 3 days. I believe you should send it within 3 days, as soon as possible. But there's really no time frame on it. For 3 days, you'll definitely take care of it. You know, we file everything not pro tunc anyways. Not pro tunc means now for then, like you filed it already on time. I'm going to go back to the Missouri, too. Let me know if you got any questions before I touch the child support, if you can type it in the chat. And there's more ways to get out of child support, too. And I got a book on that, too, but I don't have it with me. I don't have that PDF. So, this is one of my older son's names, and you see, business. This is a fictitious name or a DBA. See who the owner is. You see who signs. Jeffrey McBride Jr., LLC. That's the owner. The name to be registered is Tarion Marquise McBride. A parent is a payer who rents. Child or children is property of a corporation. So you got to understand how to operate like that. You're the father, and that's your son or that's your daughter. They're reclassifying statuses. All right? So understand, this is the parent corporation, and this is the child corporation. And that's how I deal with child support. Anything, I'm demand for dismiss, I own the businesses type stuff, you know. I'll show you a child support case. It's in my book though. I'll find it. Let me spell my name wrong sometime. Boom. Right here, affidavit of termination of child support. Affidavit that once you're able to prove, you gotta understand the mother has already signed her rights up to the state. If child support is coming after you, the mother has already signed the rights up. And if you're the mother about to be on child support, the father already signed his rights up. So when you learn how to update your status correctly, show your name's a business, you own the businesses, you control the business, fill your affidavit of termination of child support. Like I said, we never file motions. Why would I file a motion to terminate child support? Judge, would you please terminate this child support? No. Terminate this child support that y'all keep enforcing. Y'all see how long ago this was? I've been doing this. Is 2015. This is how long I've been doing this. 2015. Affidavit. They have to agree. They can't. When a fact enters the courtroom, that's just what it is. They can't go against it. But because a fact is not supposed to enter the courtroom. It's all about assumptions or presumptions. He appears to be. She appears to be. You know, they say that's the child or the children. They never say it's the son. They never say it's the daughter. They never call you the father. They call you the custodial parent or the non-custodial parent. A parent is a parent who rents, and you're renting that property from the state. As soon as you're born, you're converted to property. You know, and I'm using the same documents, except I'm proving that this is a TANF. I'm proving that this is a grant. Child support is a TANF grant. And grants do not have to be repaid. I think I include, like, I think it's a form 990. Let me see. I don't want to tell y'all the right forms. No, it's not the No, I don't want to push y'all wrong, but that would work too, a form 990. But you know, we need to see the returns that you're getting with our business. When you understand everything's a tax issue, you have the right to see the books. You know, ain't no motion of discovery. I need to see the accounting. I need to see the books, the 1099 OID, who's the recipient of the fund, because everything's a tax issue. You're here to reduce in the aiding of the public debt, so you need the proper accounting information so you can update it with the U.S. Treasury and the IRS. That's how you talk. That's how I talk to them. With that, hey, y'all have any questions? I went on long enough. Y'all have any questions? Make sure y'all drop Antoine Bey a donation too. Y'all found this information valuable.
I know they probably got plenty of questions.
Y'all, whatever y'all want to do. How you want to do it,
Antoine? They can unmute yourself and you can ask your questions in an orderly fashion, of course. One question per person.
Let me know if anything I went over did not make sense. Let me know so I can help it make sense with you.
If not, I'm gonna go through a couple case laws.
I sent the Google Drive links if you need the actual PDF. Antoine Bey has them. You want to schedule a consultation with me? Talk to Antoine Bey.
Islam, can you hear me?
Islam. I just wanted to ask a question. So, you touched on like many different ways on how to.
There's more ways to skin a cat. You gotta stick to. Stick to what you know. Once you start gaining clarity in certain situations.
True, no doubt. So
what brought me clarity was just knowing my name was a business.
Yes, that's the straw man. That's what you're referring to, correct?
There's a way you can put them in the question too, Antoine. You can make it where they can, put them in the queue if they want to ask questions.
Okay. Can you hear me? Islam?
I can't hear nothing.
Can't hear me? Islam, can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Islam, this is Antoine Bey. Can you hear me? Islam, can you hear me?
Antoine, can you hear me?
I believe he recorded it.
Islam, can you hear me? I can hear everybody, but can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Islam.
Yes, Islam.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. If you have questions, let's put it in a queue. Let's do a Q&A. We're going to
I'm gonna
start
have
at
to,
10.
I'm gonna log out and log back in.
Okay. I don't think he was able to hear us. Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Alright, I think his sound went out for a second. I think he's back in now.
Malik.
You sound far away.
All right, I can hear y'all now.
Okay, yeah, you back in.
He said.
Okay.
I said I would send him back within 3 days. He said, what's the best way to handle child support system? I just told you, make your name an LLC and your kids, you got to own their name as well. Make it a fictitious name or a doing business as name. If you don't understand business, you're going to be lost in the sauce.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay, everybody, go inside the chat and hit ask a question, or and you'll be able to have the floor to ask your question, so we can do it in orderly fashion, one person at a time. Okay, go ahead, Kobe. I don't know how to, for real, I'm trying to figure it out, y'all, my bad. You just take all of y'all off me, because I don't even know what I'm doing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm trying to work this. I don't know about this working. You can unmute yourself, everybody. Everybody keep dropping. I'm not gonna keep on letting y'all back in and out. I keep dropping out the chat. Okay, unmute yourself. I don't know why everybody keep dropping out the chat.
Can anyone hear anyone?
Can you hear me?
I hear a little bit. I hear
you now.
All right. Yeah, I couldn't hear Brother Antoine. That was low.
I couldn't hear anything at all.
I can hear now. All right. Peace, peace.
Okay, Don Kilam.
Yes, ma'am.
I see where you put in the termination. What is it? Affidavit of termination, and you're saying don't put in motions. So I have a case where Discover, they got a judgment because I was never served or know that they was taking me to court. But it's the same debt collector law firm that actually owns the debt. So I did some research to find out Discover sold them the debt, but they're claiming that it's Discover taking me to court. So should I just do an affidavit to terminate and not request for a motion to I guess it'll be a motion to cancel that judgment?
I couldn't tell you what to do. I just told you what I do. I make my name an LLC, and then I tell them I don't understand. It's that simple. What state are you in?
Maryland.
And Discover has a business with the Secretary of State in Maryland.
You know what? I didn't even check that.
I know you probably didn't because they don't. So if your name's a LLC, who has jurisdiction? You or them?
Me.
Secondly, are they contracting with attorneys? Can you see? You have the right to see that contract because you have the right to face your accuser, right?
Right.
So have you met Discover? Have you talked to Discover?
No.
Can Discover come to your door? Can they knock on your door? Did you pay Discover some money? Who did you have the contract with? That's who you want to talk to. You have the right to face your accuser.
Okay. I got it from here. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Islam, this is Antoine Bey. Can you hear me now, more?
Now, brother, I can hear you now.
Alright, we back in the building. Islam.
So I'm coming your way soon too, bro. I gotta hit Dallas and Houston.
Oh man, let me know more, cause I'm traveling myself in the next couple months too. Next month I'm going to Atlanta, Georgia.
I'll be there too.
Okay, we can link there, cause we got a big event going down with the tactical training on the firearms.
All right, sounds good, man.
Yeah, you probably be right up your alley. Yeah, if anybody got questions, unmute yourself and ask your questions. I tried to do the Q&A session, but it didn't turn out too well. So
we gonna get it together though. It's all
good. Just go ahead and raise your hand, ask your question, or unmute yourself. Just limit to one question so everybody can get a question off. Don't be shy. You know, it's not gonna be like you're gonna have a chance to sit down with Don Kilam or myself, you know, on a regular basis like this. So go ahead and get your questions, your individual situation. We are not licensed attorneys or anything like that, but, you know, just for educational, scientific purposes only. So,
hello.
Yes,
y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
How y'all doing, gentlemen? Thank y'all so much for what y'all doing for us. I mean, this is amazing. Thank y'all so much. So you said you filed your children's names as businesses too. So did you do that in Nevada? And then also, how does it work? It's kind of the same thing, but for us females who are married, like how does the social, like when you file under business, are you doing like is it based on the social or your name as well? Because like, what if it's under my maiden name and with the original birth certificate was under my maiden name?
So if you understand,
thank you for answering too.
If you understand, it's okay. It's all good. If you understand trust, anyways, like you know, I'm not a licensed attorney, tax expert, like you stated. We're doing this for educational purposes only. First of all, you should have a private trust already, a private irrevocable trust. If you understand,
okay,
trust, without an EIN. Now, when you understand how to set up trust, you can get businesses and EINs without even attaching your social, if that's the route you want to go. But I'm telling you, if you understand we're operating on full faith and credit, why wouldn't you want to access the credit that's already due to the people? So, when setting up my kids' names, it is set up Jeffrey McBride Jr. LLC owns my kid's name. You follow me? And the kid's name is either set up as a fictitious name or a doing business as name. And if you understand trust, you don't have to file anything to operate a DBA. You know, you seen any paperwork showing that Malcolm Little changed his name to Malcolm X or El Malik Shabazz? You know, you follow me? So when you understand the law, you can just go, and all you got to do is just kind of study.
Right.
If you know who Mos Def is. But I shouldn't even be talking about it.
So, but you mentioned Nevada, so that's...
Yeah, Nevada's a charging order protection state. That's where my holding company is set up. Well, a few of my holding companies are set up in Nevada. A lot of my high-profile clients, their holding companies are set up in Nevada because a holding company can't own anything. They can only hold for whoever their client is. You follow me? And it's for the benefit of their client. You know, and things are considered investments with holding companies, the same way with a trust. So when you learn holding companies, that will help you learn trust. That's how I look at it.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Well, I'm still learning, so I got to go back and read the notes and everything. But I think you kind of explain things in layman's terms, so I definitely appreciate that. Because we're seeing definitely a lot of things on Instagram and learning. As a people, we are learning more than we knew. But sometimes people are not breaking it down to the logic like how you are to me. So I definitely appreciate you for that.
I'm going to show you really, really fast because I don't want to get people caught up. The benefits of a Nevada LLC. I just want y'all to see this, because especially when you understand your name as a business. United States to me is a holding company, okay? They're a holding company. They hold property, and they claim everything as their property. So when you learn how to create a holding company, you just claim everything as your property. You got a loan, you want to have a loan with anybody, the first loan you have with anybody should be your holding company. And the reason why we set up LLCs in Nevada, because you see there's no state income, corporate, or franchise taxes, privacy protection for owners choosing to be anonymous. So if I'm choosing to be anonymous, who can you tax? I don't even have to share anything with the IRS. And then we're using case law. There's no taxes on profits. You're protected from liability. So that's what I'm saying. If I have a holding company or any type of, even if I have my name as an LLC in Nevada, you could do that. But the thing is, you won't be able to implement jurisdiction if you don't live in Nevada. That's why this holding company has to own your LLC, whatever. So the holding company would be like the parent, and then you would be the child, so to speak, and how I was doing it. And you could do the same thing with your kids. You don't even have to be the actual owner. You have your holding company come in. Whatever makes sense to you. I don't want to get y'all too far off, but look into charging order protection states, and one of them is Nevada, and it just protects you from liability when dealing with, especially debt. When you understand that even so-called criminal crimes are debt, you're going to start learning from the business aspect.
Thank you. And if I can squeeze the another question, not another question, but when you mentioned the fees, you said like you broke down all the fees that you was going to charge.
Yeah, and like before I even go to court, I'm gonna tell them if you want me to come, I'm gonna need a $20,000 appearance fee. If I come to your city, I'm gonna charge you $10,000. But if you're a public official, I'm gonna charge you $20,000. I don't discriminate. I'm friends with the United States. I just charge them a little bit more.
So I think we all trying to get to that point where we feel confident and bold enough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. How do they get their power? Like, do you know, if you study real history, because for a tree to grow strong, it has to have strong roots. You agree?
Absolutely.
So with the history that you know, which religious book or public educational book said that the government was for the people? I'll wait. So they didn't even lie to you. They told you they took your land. In order to give it back, they had to create a game, right? So it's just all about learning the game. You're scared to learn the game because you don't understand that prosperity is your birthright. They took the stuff from you anyways. It's yours. Correct?
Absolutely.
All right, because you knew you was royalty, right? You knew you was royalty, right? I mean, I don't know. They didn't teach you that in school, I'm sure. You knew that, right?
We know that. We know that.
So there's a reason why they start your history with slavery. But they still told you they took your land and made you slaves. So they had to create a game to give it back. And the so-called slave story to me was part of that game, making you scared to believe in yourself.
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don, is this being recorded? Do you know?
I believe he's recording it, yes.
Yes, this is being recorded. Islam, it is.
Okay,
and I will be posting this recording on my on the YouTube page, so everybody, because it's over 40, 50 people. I'm not going to be able to send this link to each and every last person. But what I do is I'll post it on my YouTube. That will be Noble Antoine Bey on YouTube.
Gotcha. Gratitude.
and that'll be up by the should be up by tomorrow, because I have to download it, and it takes some time to download and upload.
Yes, sir, it sure does. Trust me, I know.
And he put the link to the book. The link to the book is in the chat. If you download the link, you can get that. I mean, if you download the app, you can get the link
I'm about
to the books that the brothers
you see my
sharing.
page? I got him. That's your
yeah, that's me
right
there. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Yup, Noble Antoine Bey at YouTube.
I'm joining right now. Securities.
Send Noble. Yeah, the link is in the chat. Oh, you got some type of put the book link back in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It didn't copy.
Okay. And all honest to you, Don Kilam, brother. Brother sharing some knowledge, man. A lot of processes and procedures that you pay thousands and thousands of dollars for and have to study hours and hours to understand. This brother breaking it down within this short period of time we have. Like you gotta love that.
Yeah, that's why you have to go back and listen to it over and over until it clicks. But I'm telling you, the main things, the reason why I even did this is because, first of all, I watch you and see what you're doing. You've been a supporter of me, you know, and you see everybody talking this and talking that. Only real recognizes real. And only people that recognize me is the people that study. Indeed. I'm just going to put it like that. And I'm grateful that the right people discover me. So, like, it's the Moors who brought me into this knowledge. It's the Moors who made it make sense for me. It's the Moors who took it was the old head Moors, so let's put that out there. They was older. Mm-hmm. Indeed. Y'all to know that. But you know, they taught me about everything, about our people. You know, I learned numerology from growth and development, you know, which started from Moors. And people think that these organizations are bad when they was really came here to uplift our people and enlighten our people, and then, you know, everything gets distorted and infiltrated over time. That's great for our people.
Indeed.
But the Moors took their time with me, so I always got to take my time with Moors. You know, I don't do labels or anything. I just believe in truth. I believe the melanated being over here is most definitely the you know, I'm saying we all children of the Most High, but the melanated one, why is life set up so where it's harder to be melanated over here in America? So you got to learn how to count that as a blessing, because it's no pain, no gain. And when you learn how to overcome the oppression, you will rise, because prosperity is your birthright. When you start understanding, like, this, we think we have an oppressor, but we really don't, because the power is always yours. Mm-hmm. You know, who else is jumping over cars, putting balls through hoops? I mean, just think about those things, man. Who defies certain feats? Like, the reason why I'm in hip-hop right now, higher infinite power, healing our people, hip-hop influences and controls the world. So with that being said, you just got to know who you are. And when you start to discover who you are, the answers will begin to come when you realize how great you are. It's really that simple. They say they don't want God to know who he is. You know, they distort the image of the Most High. And that's why when you turn on the TV, you're not liking yourself. You follow me? Because that's their job. Their job is to stray you away from who you are and to stray you away from your source and your creator. And that's how I look at it.
That's the holy breath. That's the truth. And just to camelback off you, when I first came into this knowledge about 4 or 5 years ago, I ran across you. I was learning from Tariq Bey. Okay. I was attending the temple. I was listening to the internet, and I ran across you. You was one of the only people I seen to prove and show the things I was studying. So I always followed your journey. I invested with you a couple times on some consultations and bought some documents and things, and everything worked out fine. So a lot of people do slander you. They slander me just for having this course. Okay, but at the end of the day, I know from study who is real and who ain't in this movement, and who is actually trying to execute and help the people. You know, so all honest to you, brother, because they slander Noble Drew Ali the same way.
I bet.
You know, and they gonna slander me, and I'm prepared for them. I hope they know. I hope they know that I'm ready.
You
I
know,
don't care.
Not to stray away from what's being said in the lecture, but I want to throw this out here too. So when I came across, you know, I'm thinking this is incarcerated like most people. And when I came across the Morris, and I'm thinking it's really on game time type of time, really. And then they're telling me certain things about Noble Drew Ali. So I just want you to know, in my mind, I kind of slandered Noble Drew Ali too. Just know that. But when I decided to talk to Noble Drew Ali or Marcus Garvey or even Malcolm X, answers really started to show up in my life. Do you hear me? So that's when I started to believe in ancestors. Your ancestors pave a way for you. And if certain names and events didn't even come across your vision, you know, you wouldn't even see it because you only recognize what's supposed to be going on in your life. You know what I'm saying? So I just want you to know that, man, it's okay to talk to your ancestors. And if you don't think you know who your ancestors is, start looking for ones that have done great feats or made great movements out there, that the ones they try to hide and don't talk about in school. Because they talk about Martin Luther King. You know, they even talk about, you even hear about Elijah Muhammad out here, but you don't hardly ever hear about Noble Drew Ali. So why is that? And I really started to learn and started to see that all these sects that came from Noble Drew Ali. The Moors was here before Noble Drew Ali, so let's not get that twisted. But Noble Drew Ali was one of the last that put it in a way that makes sense for us, and he did it by actions, not words, so to speak. He applied more actions. The first thing, when I first went to the temple and started seeing how service was held, so to speak, I'm like, bro, this is like a city council meeting. But none of our people been to city council meetings. You know, they haven't seen those things. And when you start understanding how the temples was ran, you'll see that's how courts are ran as well, in a similar fashion. So these were just self-study notes that I started taking, you know, when I started talking to Noble Drew Ali in my own private time. And if people think I'm crazy about that, they're quick to pray to a painting. And that's all I'm going to say, or a cross. So it's okay if I talk to my ancestors. And that's how I look at it.
Indeed. Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. I'm with you. I appreciate you. Now, just a backdoor off the conversation, we went over the color of law today. The brother went into procedures on how to deal with traffic tickets, nonviolent cases, and all types of criminal cases and matters, and debt matters as well. Like, there's no limit to what you can use these for. I'm going to read just a couple case laws, which is res judicata, meaning already decided. That you can build confidence off of, the knowing that this has already been ruled against. It's plenty of people that went to court and won on these same bases that we fighting on today and we teaching you on today. Okay, so all you have to do is go into the case law and find. So I'm gonna read to you section chapter 6 of the book, Right to Self-Law, and that's Right to Travel, page 53. If you don't have this, I shared this with everybody when I was sharing the link. Okay, number 1 says traffic infractions are not a crime. That's people versus battle followed by citation. So a lot of people think all traffic infractions is a crime. It's not a crime. So when they pull you over, it's supposed to be a crime committed. When you get first pulled over, you've been violating your rights. Because according to their constitution, due process of law, they supposed to have an affidavit and a warrant, search warrant and arrest warrant to pull you over. Okay, so know that traffic infraction is not a crime, so they can't say, oh, I have probable cause because I witnessed a crime being committed based off you speeding. That's invalid. Okay. Number 2 says the right to travel, the right to the mode of conveyance, the right to locomotion are all absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of rights. Okay, so case law's already been decided in State versus Armstead that you have the right to travel. You don't have to have a driver's license. The license means that you don't have a right. That's a privilege given to you. It can be taken away and voided, can be restricted. Okay, so you have a right to travel without a driver's license, according to that case law. Okay, I'm going to go into one or two more. I'm not going to go through all of them. Number 10 says, speeding, driving without a license, wrong plates or no plates, no registration, no tags, etc., have been held to be non-arrestable offenses. And that's Cal versus Farley. Okay, one more. 17 says, there being no such license as a driver's license known to our law, it follows that the information in charging the driver of a motor vehicle upon a highway without such license charges no offense. And that's W. Lee House versus the state. Okay, so anytime you feeling uncomfortable about anything we taught in this video, go back and look up the case laws. Look at what's already been decided.
Can you repeat that last case law? WL what?
That's in the book that I shared with you. That'll be number 17 in the chapter titled Right to Travel. And the case law to that is W. Lee Hassel versus the state, followed by the citation. That's 149 Tax Criminal 333 194 Southwest 2D40. But that's inside the I Self Law Handbook for Self Law Students, page 55. And then another resource where you want to find good case laws is what I use. You can go to Google Scholar. If you go to your Google search bar and you type in Google Scholar, it's going to pull up another section of the Google, which is going to pull up a search bar where you can just search all case laws. So you can put in anything you want inside the search bar. You can put in jurisdiction. You can put in affidavit, anything you want, and it's going to pull up case laws, federal and state, for free. And this is how I compiled 1,200 case laws together. Most of them came from me doing that internet search, and also LexisNexis and a couple more internet searches. But you don't have to purchase LexisNexis. What I discovered, you can just go right here for free to Google Scholar. So utilize these tools we're giving you, because you're going to need this on your journey. Okay?
Y'all good? Y'all still there?
I'm here.
Okay. We've been at this about 2 hours. We're going to open the floor for a couple more questions, and then we're going to close out.
I hooked y'all up. I can't hear. I don't know if he's still talking.
Can you guys hear me out there?
I hooked y'all up. Y'all need the PDFs for real. Y'all can holler at Antoine.
I can hear you.
All my books on Amazon too, but I gave y'all the word is bond, the power of abatement. There is some child support documents as well.
I'm gonna send them a chat. Can you hear us?
No, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna sign back out, sign back in again. My bad.
Oh, it's cool. When he comes back, we're gonna open up for questioning. Just limit to one question, and then we're gonna end it with a reading from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Don Kilam, are you back in? Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now, yes sir.
Okay, peace and love. Thank you.
Love.
We just gonna open up for last questions. Limit to one question. Brother gave us his time. We've been on here for 2 hours. And the brother came early. He didn't even come late. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, you're not gonna find that type of dedication. So, if you got any more questions,
you know, I respect you, brother Antoine, man. I respect you. I respect what you do. I respect your demonstration, man.
Thank you,
and
brother.
You've always been supportive of me.
Indeed.
I ain't got no choice.
Indeed. Hey, I know you out here putting in that work and leading by example, brother.
No, I'm done. I'm about to quit the public. I'm gonna help people just like you.
Hey, that's how you gotta do. You gotta lead leaders. You know.
Yeah, that's it. Indeed. That's it. Indeed. But I did that Google Drive link, man. I did put some stuff in there about child support, because I know we didn't go deep in everything, but child support docs. Somebody asked about how to help the eviction. If they have eviction, I went ahead and put that book in. You know, I started. It's called Open House. And then my traffic books, The Right to Travel. You know, a lot of this stuff I got from RV Bey right here. Some of the travel laws you was just talking about. You know, but there it is. There you have it. You know, do some study. Just stop talking, start traveling. Just show you how to make your car even private. And the way I utilize it, you know, there's something different for everybody. But if you find the information valuable, you already know what to do. You know, you drop a donation to Antoine Bey. And if you need PDFs, you know, holler at Antoine Bey if you need anything. And then y'all just go through him and we can set something up.
Indeed. And for everybody that's already members of the temple, dropped in the group chat, in the Telegram chat, the link. If you're not in if you're in the app right now, you should be able to get the link right now with the brother describing for the Google Drive. And that contains all the documents that the brother is describing right now. And I'm looking at it. You don't want to miss this. This is great documents like child support docs, rent and mortgages, traffic book. Then he put the PDFs with it. So definitely jump on that. If you want to hear more about joining Moorish Science Temple of America, Body Politic, everybody has my chat line, the business chat line. So that's the Google Voice line. So you can just text me on there. Any way you want to reach out to me. Anybody has any questions for the brother before we let him go? Let me know. Go ahead. We open the floor for any questions. Might be your last time to get this for free, so I limit to one question though, but definitely take advantage. If not,
Wait. I have a question. Since nobody's saying
Okay,
nothing.
yeah, fast.
Okay. So you mentioned you was talking about the questions when they asked you, like, what's your name? Where do you reside? And you were saying, I'm a living soul. I live on Earth. Like, can you repeat those and say those again, please?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a school of thought, man. Like, you got to learn how to. First of all, if you don't know how to answer a question, you need to learn how to answer that question with a question, because the so-called secure party or the master always answers the question. And you need to come into the school of thought that, hey, they're public service and you're the public, so they serve you. You follow me?
Right.
They're trying to get you on the, like Brother Antoine brought up, jurisdiction. And I want you to know, they do have a jurisdiction. It just doesn't apply to your subject matter when you know who you are. So when they ask you, state your name for the record. What's your name? Well, my mom calls me son. My children call me father. Because you got to understand, they go off assumptions and presumptions. You appear to be black on or about this day. You know, so that's why you got to stick to the facts. If it's 2022, but a man decided that, because the Earth's billions of years old, so you got to stick to the facts, and the facts can't enter the courtroom. So state your name for the record. My mom calls me son. My children call me father. Where do you reside? I reside in my body. Well, where do you live? I live in a house. You know, well, where are you from? I'm from Earth. Things like that. You follow me? I don't allow you to take my picture. That's against my religion. You're trying to capture my spiritual essence now? For what? For your demonic deeds? That's how I talk, because they're creating deeds off your estate. You follow me? So
I love it.
Stick to the facts. I mean, it's not some stuff you're going to find on Google, but, you know, it's just things that I came up with just being around certain individuals that's been tried and true and done these things. You know, and most of the people that got the knowledge and people that had the knowledge that I've seen was still scared to implement it. As soon as they seen that man in that robe, they would lack confidence, you know. If somebody's playing with your life, and because time is the most valuable asset, you just need to learn how to take control. If you didn't hurt nobody, there's no reason why you should be fearing anything. That's how I look at it.
And that's the truth.
Just soaking it all in.
I got a quick question.
I just shared in the chat a link to the Instagram video of me getting pulled over. And what the brother's describing is the legalese that you should know. When they asking you certain questions, these are artificial terms. When they ask you what's your address or where you live, your residence, that's an artificial term. That's not something a human being can do or living soul can do. You live in your body because once you have the science of self, you know that the body is just a vessel. You know that you are inside the body. You are not the body. So
it's another mode of conveyance. The flesh is another mode of conveyance.
And I got proof of that. And that if you go to that Instagram and you look at that video, that police had me pulled over. He asked me the same exact questions, and it's proof that you can answer that and be let go.
Yeah, did you see where they pulled me over for the, because you know I got the nationalitytravels.com. I had the Choctaw plates, Choctaw identification, but they still try to write me driving without a license, but they didn't take the car. The car's unregistered. I keep the MSO. I keep all those documents that's in the book that I shared for the cars in the Google Drive link.
Yeah, you got that on your YouTube, right?
Yeah. So I utilize that, but now I'm doing international foreign driver's license, so they can't even write you tickets for that no more, because the more has been demonstrating in Chicago with their own jurisdictional driver's license in the court, they're not going against it. They upheld that as a lawful driver's license, and it's issued by your organization. You follow me?
That's all it has to be backed by government. That's it.
That's it. And you're your own government when you learn how to implement that's when the trust comes into play. when you learn about trust. You know, what the more we have the Zodiac Constitution. You know, I started studying that. I'm like, that's deep if you understand it. Follow me? It's just having your own. A constitution is an express trust, like you said earlier. So just learning how to express your body of government and the rules that govern you.
And that's exactly what Noble Drew Ali did with the 101 questionnaire. You look on the back of his affidavit in pursuing of the Heard-Smith Act. When you read the Heard-Smith Act, the Religious Corporation Act, it's a trust. The sheiks is nothing more but trustees. And that's according to the Heard-Smith Religious Corporation Act.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm going to tell you, my journeys didn't start in the temple. I studied law outside the temple, but when I dove into what Noble Drew Ali did,
no doubt.
It's not being taught the way I'm going to teach it.
Right, and the same way with me. I came in learning Missouri codes and statutes because, you know, I'm 17, got $56 worth of damage to a car. They give me a Class C felony. I'm looking at, they tried to tell me 21 years, but they gave me a 7 for $56 worth of damage to a motor vehicle. That's mine. You follow me? So I'm trying to figure this out. How come? And that's when he was like, you're not black. They reclassified me as black. And a lot of different things, you know. Then he taught me to learn my Constitution. I thought I knew my Constitution. You know, so when I just started doing what Noble Drew Ali said, it got me far. You see where I'm at.
I remember you told me that a long time. This is not your first time telling me that. You told me that when I first talked to you years ago, bro. And that's what kind of got me to study Noble Drew Ali even harder, because I was already saying I was a Moor, but I didn't know about Noble Drew Ali. And after that consultation I had with you for about an hour, you put some heavy spiritual things on my brain. I thought I was just coming in about some paperwork. I wasn't even in the spiritual side back then, but now I am. You know, as you see.
You know, I self-law master. When you learn that man can't control you, natural laws control you and govern you. It took me a minute to understand that too, because they're like, the Constitution is the organic law of the land. Like, what does that mean? What are you talking about? But when you start learning that, some people call it universal law or whatever. I like to call it natural law. You know, who's controlling natural law? Who's controlling the sun? Who's controlling the moon? Because Noble Drew Ali had the moon in his left hand and the sun in his right. You feel me? That's how I'm looking at it. So when you learn that, how to go with the flow of nature instead of against nature, your life will become good. If something bad happens in your life, it's a lesson to be learned.
It's nothing bad, only negative and positive experiences.
Courage is questioning your rage. That's it. So learn how to be courageous. Because when you're in a negative state of mind, if you're in a state of lack, that's all you're going to get in life. So when you're going to see this judge and you're already in a negative state of mind and in a state of lack, you think something's going to be taken from you, that's exactly what's going to happen. Because whatever you show love is going to show you love back. Because I self-law master. That's how I look at it, man. And you got to hold yourself accountable. And like you told them, you have to read this. And you know, most of our people won't read. And if you're not reading, you need to apply it. You don't always have to read, but at least try to apply it. And don't be scared, because if you're not going to read, then you're going to have to apply it to start to learn and do self-discovery of these situations.
Hey, y'all, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
If somebody's sentenced already, can you get them out?
What they sent, is it violent or non-violent?
I think it's vehicle homicide.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch
it. Somebody in the car got killed.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it. Me personally, I wouldn't even try to assist them with a crime like that.
Not to associate with it, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't, because you gotta understand. I look at everything as energy. I don't need that energy attached to me.
Right.
I believe everything happens for a reason.
Facts.
So they gotta figure out Why they led themselves to that? You know who Aesop is? Aesop's Fables? There's a moral to every story. Once he figure out the wisdom and the moral, he can bypass his karma.
Right.
You follow me?
And get some type of peace or find his way.
Yeah. So all you're gonna have to do is, gonna have to do some deep soul searching and get that and visualize in his mind. It's just something he's gonna have to figure out, a life lesson.
Right.
But I help out with nonviolence, and that's still part of your karma. I still got to take that on and then go ground out in nature. You feel me?
Right, because what? Yeah,
a lot of people don't understand it. Yeah,
you reap what you sow, so it's coming back.
But I do help a lot of people, and most people I help get out of incarceration. I'm gonna shout out to Joshua Bey too, because he's one person I worked with. He works with ISOP Law and Master, but he's helped get people out of incarceration. But with this bond process that we utilize, but most time is you gotta understand. I help people make a name of business, because if Walgreens is selling crack cocaine, and I'm not telling my people to go out there and sell crack cocaine, but if crack cocaine was on the shelves at Walgreens, nobody's going to jail, because Walgreens has their business established correctly, and they're not black. You follow me?
Right. Yeah.
So
it's equal for everybody.
Business, and that's not you, and the business is selling crack cocaine, and it gets in trouble, then you got 30 days to cease and desist before the next step. You follow me?
Right.
I hope that makes sense. You just got to learn how to limit your liability. So I help a lot of people get out of certain situations, and just put it like that, because they really didn't hurt nobody. There's no victim. The only victim is the state, And the reason why I bring up things like crack cocaine or heroin and things like that, because how does a melanated being that's never left his state get something from a whole nother country? So you got to understand the game. And that's why I help my people in those situations like that, because it's a game that's set up against them. And I'm just trying to get them to see themselves as businessmen or whatever they want to do, so they can change their life around and do something different.
Right. Respect.
That's important to why your name should be a business. Walgreens can't go to jail for selling bad drugs.
As long as I see somebody put in the chat, the Caribbeans are the Americas, is just land taken through treaty.
That's facts. This is all America, from the top to the bottom, from North America to South America. It's all America.
It's all America. Caribbean is just a name they gave it.
Yeah, it's all America. It's all America.
And just to come back off that, it wasn't taken through treaty. There's no treaties you can read that we ever gave them any land. It was colonized.
Facts. The same way with Hawaii. Hawaii is a kingdom, and still belongs to the Hawaiian kingdom. If you learn your status correction, because I went to Hawaii, I dealt with some people that got royal blood, and they know the royal blood and could still be traced. And this just happened in the 1800s. They had a queen, and these men got together, created an organization, and they took over Hawaii and had the queen locked in a room because they didn't have no defense. And then they had some contacts in the United States and had some United States soldiers come there, which was a war crime. So they gave it back, but they kept the commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So they call it.
That's how they do. They keep the public side and let us control the private. And then if you've been guys been following, Queen Elizabeth was removed from her office from the Queen of Barbados.
Like,
so that was from the islands,
That's deep. Yeah, the United States, like, people think the land, no bank can own land in the United States. You know, it's property. You own property because if you learn how to make the land private, the government won't even step foot on it.
Somebody put, which edition of Black's Law Dictionary should we use? I personally use 4th, 5th, and the 6th editions.
I use the 6th.
But I don't limit myself just to Black's Law. You want to get Bouvier's, I get Barron's Law Dictionary, and then you want to get Norris Webster's 1828 Dictionary, and then you want to go as further, even get a Metaphysical Bible Dictionary.
There you go.
You want to have your dictionary game on point.
If you know how to use the Bible, you can just read the Bible, to be honest with you, to get you out of any court case, because the Bible's a fact in a courtroom. And I didn't bring this up earlier, but that's the reason why I became an ordained minister, because when I was in the case laws, I seen that the court had upheld that this was a lawful. And I'm like, wow. And he was an ordained minister. I feel like there's a war waged on my mind with the spelling and the spell casting. All right, I'll start there.
Yeah, being an ordained minister give you a lot of privileges.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially dealing with like say you like visits with inmates, things like that. Being able to have clergy immunity in certain situations. Yep.
That's it. And like, even though a clergy can't represent you, they can be there, Marcus Cure, the kind of help referee to make sure everything's going according to legal and lawful manners. So like being a clergy is most definitely very powerful. But that's the same way with when you got a nationality card or anything like that. They'll be like, where'd you get this from? We're going to get you with identity fraud or whatever. My church gave me that. I'm a member of the church. A church and a tribe is very similar. So it's just however you want to, whatever direction you want to go with this. And then when you got your church or your tribe together, if there's no injured party, you can handle the dispute amongst your peers and your tribe. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I asked, do Amish people go to jail? Which court they go to? Do Jewish people go to jail? Which court they go to? A lot of people don't know these things because you're not seeing Jewish people in your jail. You're not seeing Amish people in your jail. Right.
Chinese, none of them. You don't see Chinese, Japanese, none of these people in your court.
Yeah, that's what you really need to do. You can go study because the Chinese are out here in the public. And one of my places in Las Vegas is in Chinatown. So go look at Chinatown. Go to a Chinatown near you, closest to you. So I know you've got small towns, you ain't got one. Go to a Chinatown. They got their own banks, own restaurants, all of that. The police do not mess with them. You're absolutely correct. So
somebody put, I'm from the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is a territory of the U.S. The U.S. Virgin Islands is not the correct name of that land. That's a corporation.
Right.
And that's property of the United States corporation. Not the land. They don't own that land. So you just got to know the difference between the land and the corporation.
Right. That's the difference right there. Another way to get out of a court case. It'd be like the state of Texas versus such and such. So can you show me a land deed for the state of Texas? Because I'm part of the republic. You follow me? There's no land deed for the state of Texas. This is just something made up out of your imagination.
Territorial Jurisdiction.
What was Texas before it was Texas? I tell Mexicans it's Mexico. Listen, it was incorporated as Providencia de Texas into the Mexican Empire in 1821 and declared a republic in 1836. So it hasn't even been Texas that long. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was incorporated.
That's why I tell people I'm right here in Sam Houston. I tell them this is not Sam Houston. Sam Houston is a colonizer.
Right. Exactly.
This is not Sam Houston. What was it called before Sam Houston named it after himself?
That's it.
Stephen A. Austin. It's a lot of names like that.
That's it. You know, and then it says Villa de Bexar was one of the first settlements in 1718. So, you know, Texas was incorporated in the 1800s, but it was somebody was there before then. So that's just how you got to think. Like you said, I like how you put it, colonizing. But the reason why we're bringing this up is because when you start understanding this, is because it's these corporations and these so-called colonizers. That's what's against you. It's a business. They said, can this be used if born in D.C.? Yes. Because you wasn't really born in D.C. What's the land called?
Mm-hmm. That's what you got to separate the land from which these states has been called. Once you separate that, you can separate the public from the private. Easy.
Right. You know, the first the real capital is Philadelphia. You know, the Moors taught that first out the gate. You know, they make sure we understand that D.C. is not the capital. The same way if you want to
District of Columbia. This is not the District of Columbia. First of all, Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. So when you're dealing with D.C., you're dealing with the Organic Act in the new United States when they formed in 1871 after the Civil War.
I found that D.C. is the ancestral home of the Nakachapunk people, also known as Anacostans. And the British colonists drove them out of their land. And then it became part of Maryland and Virginia.
That makes a lot of sense because Maryland and Virginia is Virgin Mary.
Right. Boy, you've been doing some studying, boy.
Oh, more, you know, I'm on your heels, more. I ain't gonna let you get all this knowledge by yourself now.
You know, and then we already know that D.C. is just 12 by 12 square. That's the only power they have. But I believe that, you know, that's why they got the monument there. It's like if you understand as above, so below. It's a power source right there. You know, the sun is not the only star that's giving us energy.
Mm-hmm.
But people ain't ready for that, you know. I believe in the stars. You know, the stars help our path. They help illuminate our path. And that's what he said. D.C. is no different from London and isn't no different from the Vatican, from my knowledge. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I put the link in there where I got that information about the D.C. Yeah, that's what I got for y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. I hope we can do this again sometime. It felt really good chopping it up with you. I'll let you take the floor. I got you anytime though, Antoine.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. You've been a great asset to me, bro, through the years, and you came out of this out of nowhere, a blessing, bro, on my journeys. You know it's hard on these journeys because you know you've been through it.
No doubt, man. No doubt. You too. For you to no pain, no gain. That's what I just want my people to understand. You're not gonna be able to understand the light if you're scared to face your darkness.
Mm-hmm.
You can't appreciate joy without pain.
Indeed. So I'm gonna read. Go ahead. Somebody had a question?
Yeah. Peace, brother Don Kilam. I had a quick question, man. You know, I've been following you. You know, I just started following you recently, and I saw that you was like traveling. You know, via you know, airplane for like $11, like some crazy stuff. Do you think you mind sharing how?
That's that private member info, man. But shoot, basically at the end of the day, man, you just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to discover all of that because prosperity is your birthright. Just keep studying and seeing what's for you. And I'm telling you that it's been codes and statutes that I've discovered. Like they're really cheat codes in life, and they're set up for you. But you have to learn that everything is for you first. That's how I look at it. And I'm not saying I do everything correctly, you know. So I do disputes and all those things too to live free.
Islam.
Yes, sir. But much peace and love. Much peace and love.
Peace and love. Thank you for that question, brother. And that's a great answer because when you come into this information, you don't want to try to jump to level Z. You ain't did level A and B yet. Because once you get there, trust me, it's darkness, it's unknown, nobody there to guide you. You're going to have to guide yourself and be guided by Allah. That intuition, that all-seeing eye was inside of you. So, you know, do your proper steps, do your status correction, and sign up for his membership and things like that first. Read these books first because it's going to come to you as easy. After that, you're going to be, oh, I'm doing it myself, and then you'll be teaching others. Instead of being one of these people stuck, still trying to go from teacher to teacher because they haven't applied and learned and studied for themselves. So, that's a great question, great answer. I'm going to close this meeting, man. We've been 3 hours. I only attended for 2 hours. So the brother gave y'all an extra bonus because y'all hyped them up. This is great energy. You know, and you set my soul on fire with love and holy zeal today too. So I appreciate all the energy of today, tonight, on this Sunday, the first day of the week. You know, we in the winter season, Capricorn season, I believe still. You know, time to put that work in. So I'm gonna close this meeting with a reading from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And this is a divine warning by the Prophet for the nations. And we're going to close the meeting on this note right here, put on your brain. The citizens of all free national governments, according to the National Constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables, and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the Prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law-abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by the government and of the earth, and it only comes through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it they and their children can receive their divine rights, unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government and not under a granted privilege as been an existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the Prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those who know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money does not make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man in the nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. and I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national Constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mind back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of the government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike, and all other governments. When a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused in prison or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your free national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro alludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored alludes to anything that's painted, varnished, or dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unity, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was enforced in 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are equal, and if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So therefore, there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be the reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find a true and divine way of their forefathers, and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that has never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin, which has been committed, and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they are fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fault the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and have examined the conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light from the prophet. Islam, Islam, Islam. So,
Islam.
on that note, Morris, take that on your brain. Use this information. All honest to everybody that came, all honest to the brother Don Kilam for giving up his time and resources and everything with us. Thank you, brother. We came in peace and we're going to leave in love, Morris. Islam. With that, we close this meeting.